Alright, back to the exterior tour. I promised I'd open up the bays and we'd take a look at that. Went ahead and shut the engine off. It's all aired up, so it'll at least look like it's standing level. Driver's side's actually a little bit down because it's in the soft dirt, and the other side's on the gravel parking lot. So back here behind my parents' farm, the tool compartment. This is a spare bulb kit. This is triangles. That's flares. They're all still in there. It's in good shape. You can see the steel, like right here, needs a little bit of work. It's a couple of places on the bus. We've got some stuff like this where the aluminum, see, I think it's got any corrosion. I think we're just getting moisture in between here and the aluminum, and it's just causing that steel to rust away. The dissimilar metals and the corrosion that you have going on there. You look at the actual structure of the bus, it's in really good shape. So like I've got this to fix here on this door, but that is probably the best of a couple of the doors that are constructed like this. So that means it's the last one fixed. The tailgate is the worst. The back of the bus is the worst in terms of corrosion that we see on here. So this is gonna have to get cleaned up and protected and just not rusted through there. This little compartment here, there's just oil and antifreeze and other spare parts. A thing of kerosene for a kerosene heater, although that's empty. So, empty 5-gallon can. It's always good to have. I would assume that they'd anticipated using that for fuel. It's obviously been here predating the owner who I bought it from. He bought it in the late 90s, had it 20 years, so that metal can's much older than that, unless Tom found it somewhere, but it looks like it's been there forever. Air conditioner compartment. The condensers there. I think maybe the evaporators are in there. The heater coil for the front of the bus is all in there behind that thing, so that's going to stay where it is for right now. Eventually I'd like to fix the air conditioner, not the stock system that's on it, but I'll replace it with more modern stuff so that the air conditioner works going down the road. Because the way this is plumbed, that really shouldn't be that big of a deal in terms of having it, it'll run through the ducting system, and then we can get rid of those ugly rooftop air conditioners that analog TV antennas got to go to. I think it would be neat to have it just look exactly like a seated coach on the outside, except for obviously that Max Air fan. I don't know if I'm just going to take that off and just put one vent in there, or maybe that one's the one over the bathroom, so that one probably ought to stay. Maybe up in the middle I'll put another one in the kind of where that air conditioner is, so that if Aaron and I ever, and then one in the back maybe where that air conditioner is, so if we ever like boondock or anything, we're not having to run the air conditioners. I'd like to replace those over the road, or those rooftop ones, when we're not traveling with like they make these concealed mini splits, and so I don't know, find a place to put a mini split in here, and then plumb that into the air conditioning system, into the ducts too, so I don't have to worry about that. This is the generator. Little Onan, runs off a Kubota engine, actually. But just got it going yesterday. It's loud as shit. It's hooked. The starter cables are hooked up to a marine deep cycle battery that is smoked. I think that this is where the battery, quote unquote, battery bank was for this. And that we just have the starter hooked up to that deep cycle battery bank. And looks like maybe there were two there. If you turn it sideways on that little shelf, you can put two. I've got a connection cable for here. The battery monitor in there, which is nothing fancy like any of the modern systems you see people running with a bunch of big batteries and an inverter. There's a battery and an inverter, a battery monitor and an inverter in there, and I think we're supposed to have two of those there. Maybe a separate starting battery for the generator down underneath there where the jumper cables and stuff are. So that battery's toasted. Yeah, just had this running yesterday. It's little, yeah, see, totally, well, not totally dead. But near starter switches on the dashboard to get it started. So that's neat. It's nice. You can start it from inside the coach when everything's hooked up. The exhaust. Let's see if we can get it under here. This is, yeah, there it is. So it just comes out right there. That box has got the radiator in there, and there's a cutout for that. And that, you can see you can probably tell that the spare is on the left rear inner. That's the tire that keeps blowing out. So we'll see what I can do about the exhaust. This is where the water is. So we've got, I assume it's just a mixed black and gray tank because I only see one waste tank there. Although, maybe it's two separate ones. I think maybe it's two separate ones side by side, black and gray. The water pump, fresh water fill, and we can tee into right here. So this was, I believe, where we just hook up. If you're hooking up like city water, that's the water fill for the water tanks. I'm not going to fill the water tanks well, it's cold right now. Although it's March, I don't know that anything would really deep freeze. It looks like some heated ducts have been run down here at some point in time. There's a duct going to one of the other bays also. I had the seat up on the dinette last night, and that all appears to be unhooked right now. This is probably a good thing to hook back up. So, some of the pipe fittings I'll show you on the other side on the water tanks aren't hooked up. That needs a little bit of maintenance and just cleaning up in there. But I think it's probably a good start to a solid system. I don't see why city water wouldn't hook up just fine. It could be the tanks right now with the things that are the issue. Maybe rerun some of that PEX. It's a little grody looking. Of course, that's only on the outside. So, of course, the coach batteries, nothing overly exciting. That is the air compressor for the over-the-road air conditioning. So that is the world's biggest air conditioner compressor. It's a big It's like multi-piston train unit. They say you can't stop a train, but this one apparently did get stopped because it is, I don't know if you can see it back here, it's kind of dark, uncoupled. The coupler's not hooked up because it doesn't work, because it is broken and seized, and so it's just unhooked. So this is the radiator, of course, the fan on that fluid coupling there on it. Radiator swings out a little bit. The engine we already heard. Muffler. Engine 8V71 Detroit diesel in the Lazy 8 configuration set on its side so it fits in the back of the bus without taking up too much space. Guess what? It leaks. Not all of that is from the engine. I had the brake cleaner out and the gunk and cleaned off the front of the engine there to see just how bad this main seal is leaking. I thought it was leaking. It looked like it had a bunch of fresh oil caked up on there after I drove it back from the previous owner's place. But run it a couple of times since then and cleaned it up, and run it a couple of times for a long time. And had it up and drove it around the block out of the country on my parents' farm that's, you know, a mile or so. I've done that a couple of times and certainly not leaking any more than, well, anything else I own. So that big oil spot is not just from one big leak, that's from cleaning stuff up. And there's the transmission. This is the transmission door. You can see there, kind of cleaned that off a little bit too. I had topped it off yesterday. Over-serviced it a little bit. So I started it up when I was running there just when we were filming the other video, and I opened these up. I noticed I had oil running all down the front up here. So I let it run for a couple more minutes after I cleaned it off with some brake cleaner. And nothing new. I think it just cold oil. With the cold start this morning and being over-serviced, it just puked it out the breather there. So we'll see. Hopefully that's what that was. If it wasn't, I guess I'll figure it out. The bus's DC electrical compartment. So, of course, more tires. These ones definitely need to be replaced. The steers are in pretty good shape. The spare, which is on the back, on the inner, on the other side, is in good shape. But before this goes to North Carolina, probably four new drives. Well, not probably. Definitely 4 new drives. You can see these. We started even losing. Almost a tread there. 4 new drives. The steers are in good shape. I'll throw the spare back up front because it's still in good shape. This is the other side of the water bay. So, yeah, this looks like a separate gray tank. I hadn't really got a good look at it. So we've got I assume this. Looks like we've got 3 grays. 3 of these. 2 of these size grays and a black. Underneath there. Oh, there's these little exhaust systems that are rigged up to hang over the side of the bus when you're running the generator. So that the exhaust isn't, if you're hanging out, the exhaust isn't just blowing right out in your face. Oh yeah. assume it's a mouse nest. I'm not gonna go poke my hand in it. This is right under the fridge. I know I'm gonna need some floor work. Actually, maybe not. I thought I needed floor work. This is got a little bit of water. Maybe. May just need to replace a little bit right in here. That's pretty solid. The rest of the floors in this are pretty solid. Like I said, the plan right now, so these are freshwater tanks. Plan right now is to clean this up and use it while planning basically redoing the whole thing. Gut job at a time in the future when I've got more time and the funds to do it. So this fitting is broken off of the tank here. I'm gonna have to come up with a way to fix that before we use it. This one's breaking off, that one's breaking off. So you know, the freshwater tanks are gonna have to come out. City water right now looks like it'll probably work just fine. Propane bay, some of the world's oldest propane tanks ever on the face of the planet are in here. These two big ones there. The wood partition is to the back side of the generator. This is an electric water heater. Little propane tank and these two big propane tanks. Probably gonna come out. Get a system for some of these ones that you can just exchange if you need or fill more easily. That way you can take the toad when we have a toad for this. Take that with you. You can pull the tanks out and fill them. My parents have like two of these are 40-pound bottles, 20-pound bottles. Two of those for that fifth wheel there. Propane water heater, propane fridge. No issues. So they don't like, you know, if I was going out boondocking for a long time, you'd just take a bunch of extras with you. But, and then come up with a propane water heater, like on demand, get rid of this electric one. That'll open up some of this bay, if not most of this bay. So, you know, we could put 2 or 4 propane bottles right in there, and then the rest of this bay would be open for totes with luggage and stuff. Not that there's not enough storage up top, but I hate to have all of this space underneath and just have it totally full of stuff. So, but behind this, there's literally a car fuel cell full of diesel. That's for the generator. So I need to get a new cap for it because it's right there. I had that rag poking in it. It's really, truly redneck solution. Here's the diesel tank for the bus. The front storage compartment on the back side of the heaters and stuff. Just little bottles of propane, a wheel chalk. That other orange wheel chalk goes up there, and I just keep that yellow one in the bus. I think it was. So that's it. That's the outside, and this video's 19 minutes long now, plus what I add on. So sorry, it's gonna be long. If you find it boring, skip ahead.